My name is Elizabeth Watuti. I am an environmentalist, a young African climate leader, the founder of the Green Generation Initiative based in Kenya, and I am also a commissioner at the Global Commission on the Economics of Water. And today I am here with Robin, who is the Global Director of Social Development at the World Bank. And I have some few questions for you, Robin. And my first question is, social development initiatives are critical when it comes to building resilience to climate change. And can you share with me any examples where the World Bank has successfully integrated social development strategies into climate adaptation and resilience projects, especially when it comes to targeting the local communities, women, and also the young people?
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and it's really a pleasure to meet you. I think the biggest priority as we see it is engaging communities themselves in deciding what are the priorities for investment in strengthening resilience at the local level. And so we're concerned with supporting locally led adaptation, locally led climate action that puts the decisions in the hands of communities themselves and the authority to decide how they want to use the funding, and making sure that we're paying attention to the needs of all groups within communities, paying attention to the needs of women as separate from men, or youth as separate from other groups, and perhaps people with disabilities and so forth. And so they can choose, for example, what are their highest priorities for building climate resilience, whether it might be rainwater harvesting or drip irrigation or water storage or other investments in climate smart agriculture. And so we're now proud to be able to support projects of this type, including in Kenya, for example, the Financing Locally Led Climate Action Program, and now being developed in other countries, in Tanzania, in Indonesia, in the Philippines, and many other countries.
Thank you about that. And we're right here at the COP, and we're seeing a lot of young people within the space. And as a young climate leader who is very much working on climate issues, not just within the global decision-making spaces, but also back at home within my initiatives, we are saying that for young people, we need to go beyond representation. So how can we ensure that the voices of young people are not only heard, but they're also like integrated within the decision-making platforms, and they sort of like form part of the decisions being made, especially on the aspects of financing. We don't hear a lot about young people when we're discussing climate finance and when we're doing climate finance allocation. So how can we ensure that this is actually done?
That's an excellent question. When I talk with young people, what I hear is that they want to see more accountability in the decisions that are made about how climate finance is actually used. And I think there's a variety of tools and ways that we can engage young people and actually do that. For example, using digital tools for ensuring that people have access to information about how climate finance is being used in a particular country, or at the level of a local authority, a county in the case of Kenya.
Yep.
So participatory budgeting, participatory oversight, and involving youth in particular in oversight of spending decisions, I think is something very important. And obviously, young people are very often very savvy in the use of digital tools and online techniques. And so I think they can be very empowering for engaging youth.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And if I may ask you a question,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, and by the way, I have to congratulate you. You were selected as one of the 100 most influential young Africans by the Africa Youth Award.
Yeah.
Really quite a recognition, quite an honor. And so, you've got a lot of experience and you've demonstrated the power of youth-led initiatives. What do you think are some of the most important ways of engaging youth leadership in finding climate solutions at a global scale?
I think the first perspective is acknowledging that apart from being the largest majority in the world, there's a lot of ideas, innovations, and initiatives that are being led by young people. Africa alone, and I'll just specifically speak about sub-Saharan Africa because the numbers are large.
Yep.
More than 70% are below the age of 30. but there are numerous innovations that young people are leading on the ground. And I think a recognition of that and finding ways in which we can be able to scale those solutions so that they can contribute, for example, to driving Africa's green growth agenda and also contribute towards like addressing and meeting the climate targets, biodiversity targets. I think this is one key priority that needs to come out very clearly, that yes, we have young people represented in some of these platforms. It is not enough to just have them present. We have to go further beyond and identify the initiatives they're leading and how can we make sure that there is support coming to them, the tools that they need, the resources that they need. Africa in itself is going to have the largest workforce by 2050. And the question we should be asking ourselves, how prepared have we, made our young people, the children of today, to be able to like lead and run that world that is going to be, we're saying we need to transition. We're saying we need to move to a just and sustainable and future world, but there's going to be us in that world. So how have we made sure that the skills and the resources, we've built the capacity enough and that we've given them the proper tools to be able to do that? I think that's a big perspective that needs to be able to come out of this platform. And then the other perspective is we say that there's nothing for us without us.
Yes.
So if decisions are being made without us, then they are not for us. If finance is being allocated without us and people are saying it's going to young people, then it's not for us. So I think that is one thing that needs to be to be integrated in all the perspectives at the national level, at the continental level, at the global level, right here at the COP. And by asking ourselves those perspectives, what kind of future are we creating if we do not have the largest majority as part and parcel of the decisions within the space? And of course, recognizing young people not just as participants, but as actors within the space. They're leading solutions, they're innovating, they're actually taking the real action and tangible solutions on the ground. So I think if we accelerate that, then we will be able to make so much progress with some of the commitments that have been made within the global decision-making platforms, and also so much progress, especially even at the national and the global level.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I find that so compelling.
Thank you.
Really a pleasure.